Welcome to another edition of Game Time today. A player sit down, or in this case, players sit down. I'm Michael Gerl, joined by Keely and Kylee Emms Finnsson. How are you guys tonight?
We're good.
Yeah.
I think Kylie's a little tired.
Yeah, I think that's everybody this time of year. I have to be careful not to date myself because this is pre-recorded. So if I say evening, we're actually pre-recording this.
Gotcha.
For when I'm gonna play it, so it might slip out a couple times. We're gonna talk about both your hockey careers here in the next 25 minutes to half an hour, whatever time will allow us to do. First off, what have you guys been up to this summer since you guys both were kind of lost on the ice together? I think would be the best way to start that.
I've been working. I work all the time. I work 2 jobs. I'm working with hydro. I'm at a golf course, and then I'm also just training by myself for hockey right now.
I've been working and doing track. I actually just got back from Edmonton from the Tri-Provincial Challenge. So, yeah.
How did that go?
It was good. I got all personal bests in all 3 of my events and 2 silver medals. So.
Now, Kylie, I think this might be a fair question to ask you, kind of to start, because I know both of you guys are multi-sport athletes. How does the hockey benefit track, and how does the track benefit your hockey career? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. Well, hockey just kind of keeps me in shape all year round. I'm always kind of going with hockey, and track, I'm a thrower, so that keeps my strength up because I need to have really good lower body and upper body strength for throwing. So yeah.
So, Kiwi, obviously you've been a multi-sport athlete for a time or two. How does hockey compare for you?
It keeps me in that all around good shape, like Kylie was saying, and it keeps you going, and it helps just keep you. I don't know. I feel hockey's very good for just different parts of your body for different sports, even. So it just helps you with that little extra that you might need.
Now, obviously, I'm going to spin this in a different direction before I bring this back to both of you. Obviously, Keely, you played with the Silvertips, and I say played because you no longer will play for them because you will be playing for ACC this fall. First off, congratulations on that. And before I ask you about your past season, how excited are you to be joining that team in Brandon?
It's all I've been thinking about for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. It's been on my mind constantly. I'm so excited to just start my new journey with hockey. It's something I've always dreamed of for myself. It's been a goal I've set for myself since I was little to play at a college level, and I'm finally doing it. So I'm just really excited to get going on it.
How much of it for you was to be able to play college hockey, but also not do it all that far away from home? Because, there's a lot of people that don't have that luxury.
Yeah, it means a lot because lots of my family, most of my family is from around the area that I live in. So they're close enough that it's a close enough trip home if I need, and it's far enough away that I don't have to see everyone all the time.
Yeah, that's fair. Couple more on that, Keely. Just tell me about what it was like, because I mean, I don't know, and I don't want you to divulge state secrets or anything, but it was announced toward the end of last year. Um, how did that come about? Was it a quick process? Was it an interesting process? What can
It
you
was
tell us about the process?
it was interesting. I hurt my knee. I was out for half a season this year. We still don't quite know what's wrong with it, but I had hurt my knee, and I was just interested, and I was going to school at U of M, and I was more interested in finding a new school to go to, a better program personally. And I've heard so many good things about agriculture at ACC. So I started looking into that, and then talking to the head coach for the women's hockey team, and just trying to set something up, show him what I can do, and yeah, just kind of happened.
It all came together.
The puzzle pieces fell in place.
Yeah, so obviously, Ryan, your coach with the Tips, has some connections there. He's the Manitoba scout for them, so that was kind of that relationship, if you will, is kind of there. Kylee, tell me about your season. Very, very interesting from a standpoint, but we saw you kind of play with two hockey teams. Your main team, which is the Interlake Lightning, didn't have an awful lot of success at the beginning of the season last year, but I thought really made stride in the second half. What was it like playing for Interlake last year?
It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't care that we were losing games. It took us a while to get in the groove, but towards the second half of the season after the winter break, we really started to come together and started winning some games even, and it was just a lot of fun.
What do you hope to take from that second half last year into this year? I mean, obviously you're on the team this year. Lead people that I talked to say that you're going to have a pretty good team, or at least expecting you guys to have a pretty good team this year. Is there something you can take from that second half and kind of use it in September here going forward?
Yeah, I'd say, but there's a lot of new girls on our team, so we're gonna have to try and find our little groove there. But I think me and all the other girls from last year will really be able to use all the knowledge we got from our second half last year and put it to work this year.
So your season ended early. It ended in a 3-game sweep at the hands of the Winnipeg Arrows, not without a pretty good fight. The first game went to overtime. Second game, you had your chances there. Third game, I never got to because it was in the middle of a snowstorm, but that's besides the point. You wind up playing toward the end of the year, maybe a little bit when you were with Interlake still with the Silver Tips. How did that come about? I mean, I understand, the sister relationship there, but is it simply that easy?
Yeah, Keely just told Ryan, she asked Ryan to AP me, and he did.
So what was that like for you? Do you remember your first game?
Not quite, but I do remember all the girls being really welcoming and nice to me, and it was really fun.
So what's one thing you could take from your MWJHL experience? Because, it wasn't just one game that you played. You played multiple games, multiple minutes, multiple situations with the team, including in the playoffs. What does that do to help set you up for this year?
I think just getting the experience to play with the older girls, was really good for me, just to see what it was like. And yeah, I'm not really sure.
So, Keely, was it always forward for you as a hockey player? Because I mean, he's a defenseman, you're a forward.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I started playing hockey when I was 3. I refused to be a goalie, even when we were in squirts and we had to switch goalies. I refused to sit in the net. I would go out and play on the ice. I've always been a forward. I've always enjoyed being a forward. And Kylee, I always kind of dragged her out on the ice to me so I could, practice my moves against her, or have someone to play against. So I guess that's kind of what led Kylee to be a defense and me to be a forward.
So was that just the natural progression then, Kylee, growing up, is you guys having those one-on-one battles? I don't know if it started with mini sticks and then turned onto the ice, or
I
think we were just on the ice most of our lives.
Well, yeah, Keely started playing hockey a lot earlier than I did. I I didn't want to be a hockey player. I wanted to be a dancer, a soccer player, a figure skater, anything but hockey. And then I tried it and I just loved it. So then I kind of started
So,
against Keeley.
Kylee, your game's kind of interesting because you're a defenseman. There's a lot of backward skating. There's a lot of play against the board, so to say. What are some of the challenges to being a defenseman?
Probably just all the battles, like especially when you get stuck in your end, you can like your legs tend to get pretty tired with all the battles. And you just kind of got to be like strong on your feet and like protecting your net and stuff.
And of course, that's something that's grown on you as time's gone on. Obviously, you've learned how to, I don't know, for lack of a better term, master the craft.
Yeah.
Kiwi, so tell me about Brandon. Obviously, there's a lot to live up to with that program. Being a national champion not only seems to be the goal, but seems to be the expectation. Have you embraced that? I mean, you like to win hockey games. Every athlete likes to win. How exciting is that for you?
It's very exciting. It's kind of, yes, become more of an expectation for nationals to us. I'm excited. I can't express how excited I am to go there and to be there with the girls. It's a good group of girls. I've heard so many good things about the hockey program, and it's going to be a great season.
So tell me about your injury. I mean, unfortunate timing last year. But you missed a fair amount of time. How difficult of a challenge was that? Because I remember you sitting there game after game after game, wanting to, to get in the lineup. How difficult was that, and how did you manage to overcome that?
Oh, that was torture for me, just having to sit on the sideline for months on end. And of course, I love supporting my team and I love cheering them on, but it was getting quite hard near the end of it just to sit there and not be able to go out on the ice and help them with. And I got to see the game from a different perspective, sitting out so much and just watching little things that we can perfect for when I come back into the game, or when I had come back into the game. And like getting over it, I spent a lot of time going to physio and just trying to rehabilitate my knee after this happened. I had an MRI on my knee to see what was wrong. And then after we found out I was clear to play, I was just trying to strengthen it as much as I can. I was going to the gym, just trying to get my body back into shape, just in general, because I had been off of it for so long. I was non-weight bearing for 3 months. So it was hard, but it was worth it.
Yeah, you almost have to reteach yourself everything, because after a while it's like you're on the ice a couple times a week, and then that rotation goes away, and then suddenly come back to it. It could be a culture shock.
Yeah.
What helped you get through it? Was it your teammates? Was there anyone in particular? Because I don't know about you, but I would consider that to be a pretty lonely feeling. I mean, I played sledge hockey back in the day. I had concussions, dealt with injuries. It's not fun sitting there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What kept you going?
Definitely, my teammates were a huge help, and just like my family, just being there for me. I'd come home on weekends, and just like the girls in the dressing room, they'd always try and include me in as much as they could, as hard as it was for me to do things. And I'd go in there, we'd all have a pep talk, we'd all just be happy, we'd be ourselves. It was like nothing changed other than I wasn't going on the ice. And they just like people in my life, like that I was with, just helped me through it. As lonely as I felt, I knew I was never alone. So that was always good to know.
So tell me about the playoffs. I mean, you guys had an okay season, fourth place. You guys played the Northern Stars. You guys lose in 3 games. The series that I'm telling you, to this day, still could have gone either way. I think every one of those games was a 1-goal game. What do you remember about that playoff series?
The thing I remember the most was the second game too, with how much intensity we came into that rink with. And just like how we were not, it was not at the end of our game or season yet. We knew that we had to come out forceful. We couldn't let, one thing we struggled with was reffing and letting if calls felt one-sided, letting it get to us. So one thing that we knew we had to do was just keep our mindset on the game. All we were there to do was play. And we did fall short, game 3, which was tough. That first game was also tough, having that goal scored with like 30 seconds left on the clock.
I was looking at the video there the other day.
It was my skates it went through too, so that hurt even worse.
But, obviously not being a part of that team now, you have a lot of friends on that team. So what would your message be to that team? Because, all hope wasn't lost despite, the great season. There's a lot of core people that are coming back.
Yeah.
What would your message be to them, even though you're now with Brandon?
Just play the game that we know how to play. Like that when we had our good streak, the game that we were playing, that's our game, and we can't stoop down to anyone else's level when we're playing. We have to play with the intensity that scared the other teams and not worry about what everyone else was doing. We had to worry about what we were doing and break it down to the small things when the big things weren't coming together.
So, Kylee, obviously you played with Interlake. You had the playoff experience. You had the 3 games, and then you come in with the Silver Tips. Can you speak to the level of play and the difference and the adjustments, perhaps, that one has to make?
I think it's just getting used to like their plays, because I was so used to doing what we were doing on our team the whole year for like however many months we were playing, and then just to make that switch, and it was just like a completely different game. It took a few games for me to get used to that, but yeah.
Obviously, you have to be pretty excited for Interlake this year. Bill Bram is your head coach this year. I had a chat with one of your teammates about a week or 10 days ago, basically echoing how excited they were about getting you guys back on the ice as a team. What excites you the most about this year? I know we talked about, a lot of the newer players, but, there's a lot of players that have a lot of experience that, didn't make, whether it was the Winnipeg team or another region who, now get that opportunity to play with you guys. What excites you the most about that prospect?
I'm not really sure. I'm just really excited to get on the ice with all these new girls. Like talking to them in the dressing room, they were all super nice. Like it already felt like we were a team, even though it was just tryouts. And I'm really excited to have Bill as a coach too, because I know he's a really good, experienced coach, and he'll really benefit us a lot.
So what does the next few weeks look like for you? Obviously it's, end of July. You're probably, and again, I could be right on the timelines, but 3 weeks to a month away from, getting into season, into a season, what's the word? Into the season routine. What does the next few weeks look like for you?
Well, I have a few more skates left, and then I'll just be working and then going to the gym too before we start our practices at start of September and August.
Well, it's coming up pretty quickly. Keely, one final question for you. I'm going to ask you the same question. Obviously, it's a very exciting time for you to be going to Brandon. Obviously, going to school there and how all that's gonna work. What does the next few weeks look like for you?
Working, lots of working for myself. That's all I do. But also just working out. I also play a few rec sports like slow pitch and beach volleyball. So I'll be doing that during a few days of the week, and I'll also be working out and working and just getting myself ready to get out there and get going because, like I've said many times, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I can tell. Finally, two more questions for you, Keely. Without getting too far ahead of ourselves, have you given any thought to potentially playing your former team? I mean, obviously, the relationship with the MWJHL and Brandon has been there for the last number of years. I know you have a conference schedule and a national championship to worry about, but has that prospect crossed your mind at all? But you could be playing them at some point.
It has. I've definitely thought about it. We might have some exhibition games coming up against them, which I'm excited for. I'm more excited than not, just to get to see all the girls again, and yeah.
And then the other question, I guess, is for both of you here, just as we wrap up. We'll start with you, Kylee. What did you learn about yourself this past season? I mean, obviously, with Interlake, there wasn't a lot of winning until the second half of the season, and you guys went through your fair share of obstacles as a team. But what did you learn about yourself?
Probably just that I will never give up, even if I'm injured or anything. I won't stop. I'll keep pushing through, doing whatever I can to improve myself and improve my play in any way I can. And that just hockey is really my passion and what I really love to do.
Well, I think that's a pretty good one, and I can see it. Just talking to both of you, whether you say so or it's very indirectly apparent, you guys seem to really feed off each other quite nicely when it comes to it. Just as far as pushing each other and wanting to be, as much as you are great people, but also great hockey players. So, Keely, what did you learn about yourself this past year? I mean, obviously, you kind of touched on it with the injury and all that. But aside from that, was there anything in particular that you learned about yourself?
Just how resilient I can be throughout any obstacles with my knee, just with trying to strive getting back to the level I needed to be with coming back to the season and getting to where I've always wanted to be with hockey. So just knowing that I'm resilient and I can always get myself to any situation I want to be and then do well when I get there.
Well, have a good rest of the summer, guys. We're out of time tonight. Thank you very much for coming on. Kiwi, we'll see you when Brandon plays the MWJHL. That'll be pretty interesting. And then Kylie, I'll see you probably at AAA this year a couple times. Still some details to be worked out, but I'll catch both of you at the rink for sure.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having
All
us.
right, we'll do it here. We'll wrap it up. If you want to keep watching, I have an interview coming up on Friday. So the interview today is Wednesday. So the interview will be on Friday between myself and Northern Stars goaltender Ryan Lefty, former member of the Winnipeg Ice U18 hockey program, will join us as we continue to count down for the season. We are about a month, a little less than that away. I do have a hockey event coming up in August, which we'll shed some light on in the next couple of weeks. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening and watching, folks. And we will be back with another show shortly.